Welcome all to this edition of Candid in Crimson, where we actually have heart-to-heart, honest conversations with women leaders who've been simply unstoppable, bolder and better in now this year. And I would say that we just get better as we go along. Today we have with us Harsha Solanki. She is the MD of Infobip for India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka. Infobip, as you know, is a cloud communication company and a global leader in omni-channel engagement. They power a broad range of messaging channels, tools and solutions, customer engagement, authentication and security, and they have a wide portfolio. And we are proud to say they're also a V customer with us there. Welcome, Harsha. It's our pride to have you with us today.
Thank you, Sheena. Likewise, I'm really, really honored to be here, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Thank you so much.
Great, Harsha. You know the theme of the International Women's Day is break the bias, and I would love, and not just me, I'm sure the entire audience, we would just love to hear about, all those instances or some of those instances where you've challenged circumstances, expectations, broken biases in your journey as a woman leader, and it's a male-dominated industry. So we would love to hear you saying, telling us about those.
Oh, well, Sheena, personally, I've had the pleasure of working in forward-thinking organizations where everyone is committed to making the workplace a welcoming environment for everybody. But however, my advice to a larger female workforce working in a male-dominant sectors is to be intolerant of any kind of discrimination. We must deal with misogyny every step of our way. Sometimes it is inadvertent, sometimes openly hostile. Always feel free to call out any undesirable behavior or regressive attitudes. It's also crucial to stay true to yourself, though it's challenging to stay loyal to yourself, but it's also highly rewarding in the long run. So it's important. So one mantra is it's important to feel comfortable in your skin, be authentic, make value-driven choices, and never be hesitant to stand up for what you truly believe in.
That sounds so inspiring and really good advice, Harsha. And I agree with you. Over the years of experience, I think we have to be much more bolder and better in the choices that we make, or when we choose to stand up for what we believe in. Harsha, what is the barrier that most women face in the tech sector?
Well, I sometimes feel that while a lot of, I would say, or several organizations promote diversity and inclusion as a part of their workplace cultures, but what is really needed is to, have diversity and inclusion should be a part of their core behavior, right from reaching out to potential candidates to negotiating salary and job profiles and training or allocating responsibilities or even evaluating them towards the year end. So for instance, more women candidates should be encouraged to apply for diverse jobs. Mentoring programs for aspiring leaders and executives should be conducted regardless of gender, etc. In other words, organizations require greater representation of people from across the gender spectrum. We will also need to view the concept of representation from an intersectional lens. Doing so will allow us to factor in and eventually bridge the traditional caste divides that continue to dominate the corporate landscape and lay the foundation for a more equitable business ethos. I feel one challenge, or rather it's another very important point for us to note and follow through, is to have continuous training and awareness programs for leaders, managers who work very closely with HR teams for hiring team members. They need to be aware of something called a subconscious bias that affects the hiring process. Now, why am I taking you to the other aspect and not talking about the direct challenges that women face in the IT tech industry? I think it's first we need to address the composition of our organization, and let's see how ready we are to deal with a problem as huge as this, right? So it is important that the HR team should be trained to be able to recognize these bias and be able to eliminate from the hiring process. We have seen that subconsciously we start mapping roles to genders, and this is a huge mistake made often by many of us in the organizations in total. So if we are committed to hire the best talent. Gender should not come in the way of your decision. The hiring, because that's the start and the beginning of, let's say, everybody's career and their journey, the hiring process or the hiring or selection process should be completely based on one's merit and not on how they look, where they come from, and what gender they are. So I feel if you're able to bridge all these gaps in our system, uh, it will automatically create a lot of opportunities for women out there, not just in tech, but in other sectors also.
True, Harsha, and that was really nice to hear. I think that's something that we can all adopt as organizations. Harsha, your journey has been very inspiring. Your career has been a story by itself and really commendable. And we all love stories. Storytellers are what is actually catching up in the industry there. What have been those, career defining moments that you would say where you were, totally unstoppable, simply unstoppable across? So, if you could share some of those for us.
Well, sure, Um, so I don't know, a lot of people don't know. I come from an army background, and for me, I think I was one of the first I would say, child or let's say kid to enter into this corporate world. So everybody in my family is pretty much serving the country in defense services. So one thing that I learned right from the beginning was to kind of be independent and make my own choices, and not have the fear of trying something new, even though if you knew that you're going to fail. The end result is that you would either learn out of it, or let's say you would probably succeed. So there are 50% chances, and you should take those chances every time you get that opportunity. So for me, when I entered this industry, what I really focused on was that I was really open for learning. I was making sure that I was working on myself throughout, making myself into a better professional and a better person. Never scared to kind of admit that I did not know anything, or something that I was, let's say, lacking. I used to make sure that the self introspection was something that I really did uh, throughout in my journey. I still do it, honestly. And I mean, that really gives you the courage to come forward and be true to yourself, and also let others know that there are few things that you've learned over the period and few things you're still learning, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're learning from someone who has very less experience than you, or someone who's actually very experienced. You have to have respect, for both set of, I would say, people that you're learning from. And this has been one of the, or let's say, few of the attributes that I literally went with, and I had maybe many challenges, but when I look back upon those challenges, they just felt like smaller challenges, because I was able to overcome them. So I don't really focus much on the problem, how big the problem is, but I usually, or rather, I would say all the time, tend to focus on how I can solve them. So that has been my attitude, and I think because of the attitude, I've been able to walk my path quite independently.
Sure, that's so inspiring. And I want to say that, it reminds me of Sheryl Sandberg when she wrote her book, and she actually told women, what are you afraid of? Take that new path, take that new challenge, take that this thing, think of the solutions there. I think you perfectly resonate with that. And once again, it's been inspiring. And you were just such a driving force. What is it that drives you? I mean, what is it that makes you the driving fuel? It gives you saying that, yes, this is what I want to go out and do all day. What is it that personally motivates you to go out there and say, this is my driving fuel? I am the simply unstoppable person that I am. What motivates you?
So, in my entire journey so far, uh, one thing that I've always paid attention to and focused is that how can I help others, no matter what background you come from and what gender you are, but how can I help them to be a better professional? How can I empower them? How can I give them coaching and mentoring, so that they get everything that they need to be there, to make it big for themselves, and that gives me a lot of happiness. When I see others excelling, it just it's a very rewarding feeling. When you hear that someone that you worked so closely with, and you also learned from the person while you taught them, and is doing very well in the industry, in their life, in their career, and that is something which actually keeps me on.
I think you're a true mentor, and I resonate with you when you say that yes, that happiness that comes when you see someone else grow. One of your proteges, the one that you mentor, it's a different satisfaction level altogether, and it's great. And in the leadership position that you are, I'm sure you would have mentored a lot of people there, and now as the MD of the organization, you play a key role in changing policies and processes in the organization. What, according to you, can organizations do to basically build an equitable workplace for women?
Well, it's as I said earlier, it's important to to kind of go back and look at the overall setup of an organization. Just having a number, to your diversity and inclusion project is not enough. You have to make sure that every individual or every employee in your organization is onboarded with that concept and that ethos. And for that, I think you need to be really talking to every individual, every employee in your organization, telling them why it's important, why it's needed, why really you need to have a very open mind, and there aren't any jobs that are typecasted. I think gone are those days when we used to typecast jobs, saying that, oh, if you are a teacher, women could be doing that job really good. Or let's say if you're a nurse, or if you're a doctor, then women really kind of position themselves very well there. Well, gone are those days. I think it is all about that everybody, no matter where you come from, can deliver the job if you really have that kind of skill set and you're competent enough, right? So it's more about preparing your people and the organization to welcome this change than waiting for someone from outside to come and suggest you the ways of doing things. I think it is important that you realize your gaps, you realize how you can prepare the organization to welcome this change, and that is something which can't be done in silo just by a HR department, or let's say just by this being driven by, let's say, the leadership only. It is every individual in the organization.
That's a lovely culture to drive, Harsha. I think the fact that you made is yes, it's not one person's agenda to drive an equitable organization for women. It is every person's agenda, it is every department's agenda to do it, and definitely not just one person there. And I'm sure that Infobip is a wonderful place to work on there. I would like on the end want to touch upon one part. What is your advice to women leaders? Well, yes, you've given advice upon people who are coming up in the sector, but what is your advice to women leaders and how they should support other women leaders, in their growth upwards as we grow?
Well, Sheena, today's young generation is incredibly smart and proactive in their approach. So I would say that gone are the days when they needed help pursuing their goals, because internet penetration is incredibly high, giving them access to whatever information or content they want, as well as the capacity to make their own decisions or choose their own path. So, as a leader, I believe we should strive to establish a workplace where everyone has equal access to opportunity. In fact, I believe that we should create opportunities for aspiring young employees regardless of their gender, for sure. So you have to make sure that women need to believe in themselves. They uh, they need to prepare themselves, they need to be competent. If we are expecting equality at workplace, we need to make sure that we're working on ourselves constantly. We're not taking things for granted around us. We're making sure that we are preparing uh, ourselves to be really, really there competing with the best, I would say, individuals in the organization. And that is something which I believe, once they get access to mentorship, once they even self introspect and identify the needs that they really need to work on, be it technical skills, be it soft skills, whatever it is, you need to really be very honest to yourself. And work on your strengths and work on your weaknesses also, right? Make sure that that gap is bridged and prepare yourself. You have to have that fuel in yourself. I always tell everybody that uh, it's it's important that you have to stay true to yourself. Also, be catalyst of your own success and growth, and and know that it is you who can change things for yourself and not someone else. And if you have that drive, if you have that attitude, I think nothing is stopping you.
I agree with you so much. It's when you say, you're a catalyst of yourself. I think finally, it's up to every woman to take that stand and say that yes, I can do it. Yes, mentorship can help. There's a lot of things across can help there, but finally, it's that drive within you that actually will help you grow in any organization. And we need women leaders more and more. It is, as any organization that is gender diverse has been proven to be more successful in the long run, and that is why we say that we need to have a gender and an inclusive and a diversity grown organization there. Harsha, it's been wonderful speaking to you, and on the occasion of the International Women's Day, I wish you a very happy International Women's Day. We are proud to have you at we, and it's been great having you at Candid and Crimson. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sheena. I wish you the same, and really, really had a lovely conversation with you and lovely knowing you. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thank you.
Thank you.